AOC wrote a letter to Mike Pompeo urging him not to support annexation, right? So Israel want to annex the West Bank, maybe the Jordan Valley, who knows? It's all a surprise. So they wrote a letter to Mike Pompeo asking him, please don't support annexation, or else we might cut off military aid to the Zionists. Or rather, they didn't say that. They said it, we will condition aid. So let me show you this over here, all right? Bernie Sanders joins AOC's anti-annexation letter, okay? Bernie Sanders, what did he tweet? He tweeted, we cannot allow U.S. tax dollars to be used to violate Palestinians' human rights. Now, just before I get into this segment, you better watch till the goddamn end, because I'm not going to give you this regular hogwash that you might hear elsewhere on so-called lefty media. This is not as good as you think it is. Okay? So Bernie Sanders has joined an anti-annexation letter spearheaded by AOC, which threatens to cut U.S. assistance to Israel should it move forward with its plan to annex parts of the West Bank. So Sanders is the only senator to sign the letter alongside 12 House Democrats, Jayapal, Omar, etc. They said they will work to ensure non-recognition of annexed territories. Okay? Now, just to be clear what that is, I don't know. I don't know if they mean what they plan to annex or if they mean the stuff that Trump has already recognized as part of Israel, meaning what? The Golan Heights, for example. No one recognizes the Golan Heights as part of Israel. They're Syrian, but they've been under Israeli occupation since 1967. And then the Trump administration goes and recognizes them as Israeli. They're not. No one is saying, not even the U.S. allies agree on that. And so I don't know what they mean exactly by this one. And I'll get to why that's important in a second, right? And then they say here, as well as pursue legislation that conditions the $3.8 billion in U.S. military funding to Israel to ensure that U.S. taxpayers are not supporting annexation in any way, right? And they say that we will include human rights conditions and the withholding of funds, okay? And of course, AIPAC, they released a response. Look what they said. They said AIPAC, Israeli lobby, the Zionist lobby in the U.S., right? They said AIPAC opposes the letter being circulated by AOC, which explicitly threatens the U.S.-Israel relationship in ways that could damage American interests, risk the security of Israel, and make a two-state solution less likely. Don't you just love how they frame things? Don't you just love this whole 1984, up is down, right is left? What two-state solution? Where is it? You don't care about a two-state solution. Okay? Not supporting annexation is the last thing that would stop a two-state solution. You are, the Zionists don't want a two-state solution. How do I know this? Because there hasn't been a Palestinian state for 70 years. 70 years. So this has nothing to do with this letter, okay? Which this issue predates AOC's birth. Okay, let's get that out of the way. So I just love the ridiculous framing. Now, let me explain something to you. Why this letter isn't all that. Now, the regular progressive commentators, other journalists, they'll look at this and say, oh, this is so amazing and bold because never before have you seen anyone, even on the left, come and criticize the Zionists like this and threaten to withhold aid. I don't give a fuck, bitch. What the fuck were they doing for the last century? What have they been doing since 1948? The U.S. was the first country to recognize the Zionist occupation as a state. That's violation number one, okay? That was the first middle finger that they gave to the Arabs, right? Who none of them were okay with this state being created. So what about before this annexation? Why are they only protesting now? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why are all these progressives only opening their mouths now? Why are they acting like the Zionists have never violated human rights before? You shouldn't be giving them this military aid in the first place. You should be sanctioning them. Never mind giving them military aid. And there's nothing to do with this annexation. What about the previous annexations? What about when they took the Golan Heights? What about when they invaded South Lebanon? What about when they took the the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. The Palestinians not getting a state. No reference whatsoever about Palestinians getting a state in this letter. Why don't you talk about a Palestinian state? Why isn't the U.S. aid to the Zionists dependent, contingent upon that? This letter effectively sets a precedent, which is like, oh, we're okay with all of the shit that happened before. But if you go ahead and annex the West Bank or the Jordan Valley or whatever, oh, now we're pissed. What were you doing before? Do you understand the problem here? This effectively, without people even realizing, it legitimizes the progressive position about the Zionist occupation. Do you understand? And now you're going to have people saying, but that's not true. That's not true. How dare you? Bernie Sanders has said this before. AOC has criticized Israel. I don't give a fuck. It's not enough. Where was this strong language before? What about all the other shit? What about when they bombed the crap out of Gaza in 2015, 2016? What about when they invaded Lebanon in 2006? What about when Trump administration recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel or recognized the Golan Heights as part of Israel? What about all that shit? That's okay? There were no human rights violations? What about Iyad Halak, who I was talking about just a few weeks ago? 32-year-old Palestinian man who's disabled. He was killed. He was murdered for no reason. Unarmed. And he's not the only one. What about all the right to return protests? What about those marches? They've killed hundreds, motherfucker, let me repeat that, hundreds of Palestinian civilians. What about then? Those were not violations of human rights. Those were not violations of international law. Those were not war crimes. Fuck you. Fuck you. You fucking pussies. Not to mention, remember what this is. Do you know what this is? This is a letter to Mike Pompeo. That's it. It's a fucking letter to Mike Pompeo. You know what Mike Pompeo is going to do when he gets this letter? He's going to put it here. He's going to put it in the special filing cabinet, meaning his fucking trash can. Okay? That's what he's going to do. Mike Pompeo doesn't give a fuck. As far as he's concerned, he said, oh, that's up to the Zionists, meaning I'm okay with it. That's what he said. If AOC, Bernie Sanders, all these progressives are so serious about this, why haven't they introduced legislation? Where is the legislation to cut off aid, military aid to the Zionist occupation? Where is it? Where's the fucking legislation? You're a lawmaker. Go write it. You got staffers. Go make them write it. You could do that in 2 hours. Done. Where is it? They're not serious. It's all fucking talk. Who are you going to take it from? Some schmuck who don't know what the fuck they're talking about? You're going to take it from an Arab. I'm telling you, this is bullshit. It's all platitudes. It's a platitude salad. And they submit it one day before the planned annexation. Oh my God, what a difference that's going to make. like Mike Pompeo, he's just on fucking standby. He's just waiting for an email from AOC. He's just dying for an email from AOC to tell him to go tell the Zionists to fuck off. One day before they plan to annex it. Are you serious? This is a joke. And anyone who thinks this is some kind of protest or stance against the Zionist occupation, you're a moron. You don't understand the games. We know these games. Arabs know this shit. No one in Palestine gives a fuck about this because this doesn't change anything for them. It's a bunch of hot air and it doesn't mean anything. And the only people it benefits is AOC and the other people who signed it because it makes them look good. You know, I was against the annexation and I wrote a strong worded letter to Mike Pompeo. No, the fuck you didn't. Unbelievable. It's really disgusting because once again, they're effectively legitimizing all of the shit that's happened before. The hundreds, the thousands of Palestinians that have been killed. And again, where is the fucking mention of a Palestinian state? Where is it? Stop distracting people and get back to the main issue. Where is the Palestinian state? You motherfuckers. Where is it? It's not just about the annexation. Where is the fucking state? That happening at all? You gonna ever talk about that? Of course they won't. Of course they won't, because that's really crossing the line. They will never talk about that. And so they think that sending a strong worded letter to, Pompeo is, oh, this is a form of protest. No, the fuck it's not. Get out of here. Get out of here. This is ridiculous. Just to remind you, what is the date today? July 1st, right? June 17th, 2 weeks ago. What came into effect? The Caesar Law, the Caesar Act, putting these extremely harsh sanctions on Syria, starving the population, inflation skyrocketing. Why did that come into effect? When you want to punish a country, when the US wants to punish someone, they do it. This is not punishment. This is a farce. This is a joke. Okay, when they really want to squeeze a country, they want to put pressure on another nation, they know how to do it. Case in point, they're doing it right now to Syria. They're doing it to Venezuela. They're doing it to Iran. They're shitting on them. Okay, and they cite the same reasons, right? Oh, human rights and international law, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to the Zionists, a few of us, we sent a strong-worded letter to Mike Pompeo. Oh, wow. I bet people in the West Bank and in Gaza are just fucking jubilating right now. Oh, thank you so much for this strong-worded letter that is going to end up in Mike Pompeo's trash can under his desk. Good job. Well done. Do you see why Palestinians, they throw rocks? Do you understand that kind of frustration now? What it takes for someone to stand in front of a fucking tank and throw a rock at a fucking tank? Because that means they've given up. Then they know the world has given up on them. Okay? And remember the framing here. These are not two equal parties on a level playing field. This is an occupational force. And the Palestinians are the ones being occupied. Okay? That's what's going on. And no one is helping them. So fuck this platitude salad. It's really exhausting. It's really ridiculous. They want to make you believe that all progressives, they're like so much better. They're infinitely better than the neoliberals and especially the Republicans. Where? Where is it on foreign policy? Where is it? I don't see it. This strong-worded letter doesn't mean shit. If they were serious, they would go and introduce a bill. It wouldn't go anywhere, but they would at least do that. They won't even do that. They won't even do that. They don't give a shit.